Let's get real about freelancing. The dream, freedom, travel, no boss. But the reality? Money is tight, especially at the start. You hustle for every gig, and sometimes the bank balance is scary. Most people don't talk about the struggle, making every dollar count. I lived on just $500 a month. That meant saying no to a lot and getting creative with what I had. It was tough, but possible. Discipline and planning were my lifelines. I learned to separate wants from needs and got creative with every expense. The goal, survive, build my freelance career and save, even if it was just a few bucks. If you can manage money on a small income, you'll crush it when you earn more. I'll break down my income, expenses, and the strategies that made it work. Let's dive in and make your money work harder. So, where did my $500 come from? Not one source, several. Rule 1 of freelancing: diversify your income. My main gig was freelance writing, blog posts and articles for small businesses, found on Upwork and Fiverr. The pay was low but steady. Next, I managed social media for a few small businesses. Basic packages, a few posts a week, small monthly fees. 2 or 3 clients made a big difference. This was my recurring, reliable income. My third hustle: online transcription. Flexible, low pay, but always available when I needed extra cash. If writing was slow, I'd do a few hours of transcription to hit my goal. My monthly target: $300 from writing, $150 from social media, $50 from transcription. Sometimes one area did better, but I always had backup. Multiple small income streams kept my budget stable. That's the secret. Never rely on just one client. It's not glamorous, but it works. Let's see how I made every dollar count. With $500 in my pocket at the start of each month, I knew I had to make every cent count. Every dollar needs a job, no exceptions, no loose change left unaccounted for. My biggest expense was rent. I shared a house with 3 others, which brought my share down to $250 a month. It wasn't fancy, but it was affordable, safe, and gave me peace of mind knowing I had a roof over my head. Food came next, $100 a month, which meant stretching every dollar to just $3.33 a day. No restaurants, no takeout, just home-cooked meals from basic ingredients like rice, beans, and seasonal veggies. Utilities were $50 a month, split with my roommates. Internet was essential for work and staying connected. We kept bills low by turning off lights, unplugging electronics, and being mindful of every kilowatt. Transportation cost me $50 for a monthly transit pass, but most days I biked everywhere for free, rain or shine. The last $50, that went straight into savings. Even on a tight budget, I made saving a non-negotiable priority. That small amount in a separate account was a huge psychological win, giving me hope and a sense of progress. My budget was simple: rent, food, utilities, transport, and savings. Each category had its own envelope or jar. There was no room for mistakes or impulse buys. Every purchase had to be planned. I tracked every expense, down to the last penny, using a notebook and a simple app on my phone. This system kept me accountable and in control, helping me avoid surprises at the end of the month. It wasn't easy, and sometimes it felt restrictive, but it worked, and it gave me a sense of stability. The key was knowing exactly where every dollar went and making sure it was working for me. Every dollar had a purpose, and that purpose kept me moving forward. That's how you survive and eventually thrive on a shoestring budget, building habits that last a lifetime. Next, let's talk about how I slashed my costs even further, finding creative ways to stretch every dollar. Here's how I made it work and how you can too. Saving money on a tight budget is a creative challenge, and it forced me to rethink every dollar I spent. My biggest win? Food. I built my diet on cheap staples: rice, beans, lentils, oats, potatoes, and pasta. These basics became the foundation of almost every meal. I bought in bulk, cooked at home, and meal prepped every week to avoid last-minute takeout. Planning ahead made a huge difference. Meat was rare, mostly plant-based meals, which were healthier and much cheaper. Prepping big batches on Sundays saved time and money and kept me from ordering out when I was tired or busy. Housing was another big saver. Living with roommates cut my rent in half and made city life affordable. Sharing utilities slashed bills even more, and we all learned to be mindful about energy use. It wasn't always easy, but the savings were huge, and I felt more in control of my finances. Transportation? I sold my car, even though it felt like a big step. Insurance, gas, and repairs were just too expensive to justify on my budget. I bought a used bike for $50, my main ride for short trips, errands, and even commuting to work. For longer trips, I relied on my transit pass, which was way cheaper than car ownership. Giving up a car was tough, but the savings made my freelance dream possible and gave me more freedom. Every sacrifice had a purpose, and each choice brought me closer to my goals. The key: focus on the big expenses: housing, food, and transport. That's where the real savings are. Cut ruthlessly, get creative, and you'll find a way to make your budget work, no matter your income. That's how I kept my budget under control, even when things got tough. Now let's talk about staying disciplined and sticking to your plan for the long haul. Sticking to a budget is the real challenge. My best tool? The cash envelope system. After rent, I withdrew cash for food and transport, put it in labeled envelopes. When the envelope was empty, spending stopped. No exceptions. I tracked every expense, no matter how small. Writing it down made me think twice before spending. I used the 30-day rule. If I wanted something, I wrote it down and waited a month. Most of the time, I didn't want it anymore. My entertainment budget was zero, so I found free fun: parks, library books, bike rides, potlucks. I learned you don't need money to have a good time. The secret: make discipline automatic. Remove temptation, track everything, and find joy in simple things. That's how you stick to a tight budget. But it's not always easy. Let's talk about the challenges. Living on so little isn't easy. The biggest challenge? No safety net. One emergency can wreck your budget. The stress is real. You're always hoping nothing goes wrong. Social pressure is tough too. Friends go out, buy new stuff. You have to say no or suggest free alternatives. It can feel isolating, but you have to remember your long-term goals. Burnout is real. Juggling multiple gigs and strict budgeting is exhausting. Sometimes I just wanted to splurge, but I held on to my why: financial independence and freedom. Eating healthy on a budget takes planning. Cheap food isn't always nutritious. I focused on affordable veggies and protein to stay healthy. The struggle is real, but so is the reward. If you're living on a small income, don't lose hope. This is training for lifelong financial skills: discipline, resourcefulness, and control. Celebrate small wins. Every dollar saved is a victory. Mindset is everything. Focus on growing your income. There's a limit to cutting costs, but no limit to earning more. Use free time to build skills. Take free courses. Learn what's in demand. Even an extra $50 a month adds up. Find a community. Connect with others on the same journey for support and ideas. Remember, this is a season, not forever. The sacrifices you make now are investments in your future. Living below your means builds a foundation for financial health. Keep your goals in sight. Write them down. Look at them daily. The path is tough, but with a clear budget and growth mindset, you can thrive. You're in control of your financial destiny. Start small, stay focused, and build the life you want. Thanks for watching. Now go take control of your money. You've got this.